Namaskar. Are the savings by DOGE as big as actually being expected? Well, thus far, there is a new website called DOGE.gov. And if you go to the savings tab there, it actually lists out the top places where the savings has been achieved. And I'm going to show you quickly that screen. You can take a quick look at this and you'll understand where I'm going with this. So this is the DOGE savings website. And if you look at it, the first line, it says that total estimated savings are $55 billion so far. $55 billion. The top 10 agencies where they have affected total contract savings, number one is USAID. Number two is Department of Education. Number three is, you can read it, Office of Personnel Management, and so on and so forth. How did these savings come about? It's a combination of fraud detection / deletion, contract / lease cancellations, contract lease renegotiations, asset sales, grant cancellations, workforce reductions, programmatic changes, and regulatory savings. I'm going to delve into a few details here on this one. But before I do that, I request all of you to please like this video. And for those of us who are paying taxes in the United States, or even if you are living outside the United States, but you are filing US taxes, there could be a bonanza coming your way. Elon Musk and Trump sat down for an interview, and that's going to air tomorrow, and you'll get to know the details there. I believe the amount that is being talked about is as high as $5,000 per US taxpayer. In other words, if you're filing taxes as a family gets $5,000. That's a very good amount, and this is just a small portion of the savings affected. This is what Elon is thinking. I don't know what Trump is thinking, but certainly if something like that can be pulled off, that would be a really nice thing, because there are a few genuine cases that also got hit by this. For example, they let go of a bunch of nuclear scientists and they realized their mistake and they had to go back and rehire them again. Some mistakes have happened. These things happen because you're taking a big, hatchet instead of a scalpel. Scalpel is what is needed in some departments, but they didn't do that. Not only that, they have got a good break. DOGE has got a good break in that one judge today ruled that DOGE can have access to 7 different government departments. Treasury is still not there, but many others are there, and therefore DOGE is making progress. Not only that, whether to give access to DOGE or not for department is now finding its way into the Supreme Court of the United States. 2 cases are filed there, and it's possible that the SCOTUS, that is the Supreme Court of the United States, the highest law apex body of justice in the United States, may rule. And once that happens, then the matter is settled. There will be no more lawsuits, I don't think, because all of them go through the same thing, that DOGE does not have the authority. And there are many ways in which this has been dissected. Let's not go into all that. Let's take a quick look at some of the big gains that have been effected through DOGE. I'm going to show a small slide deck. Request all of you to please like this video, and if you have not already subscribed to our channel, kindly do subscribe to our channel. So the first thing was, there was a screenshot that Elon Musk shared, wherein he said that people over even 300 years, 300, were still drawing down social benefits and social security benefits. And in fact, I put out a short saying that perhaps even George Washington or even Benjamin Franklin might be drawing benefits now. So this is a joke, because you're going to hear the other side of the story also today in this deck. We're going to present to you both sides. So the data displayed millions of individuals listed as over 100 years old, sparking fraud concerns. Of course, there is a story here that I'm going to come on how this fraud was perpetrated, and I'll come to that in just a moment. Now, Musk humorously suggested some of these people might be immortals, or some could be vampires, to try and reference to the Twilight series. Next one, please. Now, The DOGE's investigation found records of individuals aged over 100 with some exceeding 300. I told you that, right? I'm going to show you the table in just a moment. A previous Social Security Administration report, it found that 24,000 deceased individuals received 300 million in benefits due to record-keeping errors. A 2023 Social Security Inspector General report found that 19 million people born before 1920, that is 100 years or more, had no recorded death data, with 44,000 still receiving Social Security benefits. See, this is where the problem is. They say only 44,000, but you look at this number here. In fact, people living beyond 89, 90, doubtful, but look at this. This is the Social Security benefits being paid out. Look at the last row, 360 to 369 years of age. That's where I said maybe George Washington is still drawing down Social Security benefits. How did this even happen? Mind-blowing, isn't it? I mean, I think that you need to, I think you can start from 90, that number onwards. If you do a quick add up of all the rows below that, those are all fakes. I would say it runs into 20-25 million. So 25 million people are wrongly getting Social Security benefit. It is believed that there is an underground network of people who can make this thing happen. They can conjure up a Social Security number that you can then put it into the system, and then you'll start drawing benefits, and you don't even have to be in the United States. Big scandal if that is true. This is something that is doing the rounds. I've checked to see if there are any actual data, but clearly the DOGE has caught it on the computer. We have to see how this affects savings. That's the next thing. Now, many people are saying that there has to be an urgent audit of the Social Security database, especially Elon Musk. And this says that there are data discrepancies. This could also show that there is some systemic fraud going on. Who are the beneficiaries over 90 years of age? How can that be? Where is all that money going? So this is going to require a fair amount of investigation. This is a very serious allegation, and this could also result in a lot of savings for the people. Next one, please. Now, BBC Verify, as always, there's going to be a contrarian view, stated that while past fraud cases exist, no specific evidence supports Musk's claim of 150-year-olds receiving benefit. Well, my friend BBC, if they did not record the death, that means they are still alive. That means they are still drawing down on the Social Security. So it looks like the death records are not being updated, and the family continues to benefit from the money. Who knows? This is going to make a lot of people poor once this is all settled, because once they understand that there is a loophole in the system, who knows how many other Social Security numbers they got for themselves. So the SSA has acknowledged record-keeping issues, but has yet to fully respond to DOGE's findings. So this is going to take some time, but it will play itself out fairly quickly. Today, Social Security covers 67 million Americans, including retirees and disabled individuals. Ensuring accurate data is crucial to prevent fraud and misuse of taxpayer money. See, the thing about Social Security is everybody pays into the SSA, Social Security Administration, 7.15% of their wages up until a certain limit, and after that limit you stop paying it. But whatever you pay into the system, the employer that employs you will be matching that. And if you are self-employed, you will be paying for both sides. So you will be paying 15% into the Social Security system. Thereabout 15%, something a little bit less than that, but I'm just giving you a ballpark number. And that is what the system pays you back once you attain, there are two ages that they allow you to take it, I think 62 and 65. If you start taking it at 62, you'll get a little bit less per month, and if you wait till 65 and start taking it when you turn 65, it's a little bit more per month. For example, this year I'm told it's 2.5% raise. The issue has reignited debates on government efficiency and oversight in handling public funds. Every once in a while they'll say that the Social Security system is running out of money because not enough people are paying into the system, because the workforce itself is shrinking in the United States. But this kind of fraud, even if this is detected, that itself will be a big stabilizer for the whole system. Next, please. Now, how do you check this? How do you cross-reference this? So you have data from the Social Security database that so many people who are dead are receiving benefit. Now, the cross-check for that would be if you go back to the IRS and check how many of these people who are on the Social Security benefits paying taxes. And anyone who is not paying taxes, they should be going out of the system. So this is going to be a cross-check, and the Democrats have been fighting tooth and nail to deny DOGE access to the IRS data. And I think they have broken through today. I think they will be able to access the IRS record. That's what my recollection is. Just wait till I confirm it, maybe in a later podcast. But this is one way to double check, because dead people can't pay taxes. See, IRS is a little bit more efficient in going after people. So the IDRS, that is Integrated Data Retrieval System, has sensitive taxpayer data, SSN numbers, home addresses, and so on and so forth. So any one missing field will give the game away. So this is a huge thing. I mean, if they can take this kind of clinical precision insights into the waste, I mean, this is going to be huge, and I'm very sure other countries are going to start taking this up on a war footing, especially those countries who have a lot of these things computerized. I'm not so sure about India, though. Next one, please. White House justification. Why is the White House saying to do this? They said that access to IRS data is necessary to uncover fraud and waste. Like I said, the cross-check is very, very important. And interestingly, these are all systems that have been around for a long time, but they never bothered to cross-check. Amazing, isn't it? Fields emphasize that the American people deserve to know how their tax dollars are spent. A new X account called DOGE IRS was created, asking the public to report insights on fraud, waste, and abuse within the IRS. This is like a whistleblower account, if you will. Now, DOGE has not yet been, like I said, okay, this is correct. They have not yet been granted IRS access, but they are going to be getting it, and that's going to be a read only. See, DOGE itself cannot act. What is happening is, the moment DOGE flag, some checks are done, and immediately the concerned department is issuing the orders. Next one, please. So this is the IRS DOGE X account. I mean, there's a dog with cool glasses and so on and so forth. It's a very interesting icon or logo. Next one, please. Now, if this is not enough, there is a new one that has been unearthed by DOGE, which is a 4.7 trillion Treasury scam. Now, what happened is, when they were looking at Treasury payments, they noticed that 4.7 trillion money that this went over the last few years, these did not have the Treasury account symbol. That means against what department should the expense be accounted? So this field evidently was left blank. That means this was intended for wrong purposes. Where did that money go? Big question mark, big question mark. And this is a huge financial oversight. And this is also going to make it very, very difficult to, if not impossible, to trace transactions, because that money has disappeared into a black hole. $4.7 trillion. I mean, today the deficit of the United States is 36 trillion. This is how that thing ran up to 4.7 trillion. I'm sorry, 36 trillion. If you have one chunk, which is 4.7, that's more than 11% or 12% of that 36 trillion. My blood boils, guys, and I don't believe that these are all Yale's and Harvardians and Columbia University, all the Ivy Leagues put together. What is going on? This is systematic fraud. Next one, please. Now, what they have done is DOGE has instituted that every dollar that goes out of the Treasury Department has to have a TAS code so that you can account for it later. And this is a major improvement in Treasury payment integrity. But one wonders why this was not put in place. Remember, I told you a few weeks ago or a few days ago, I don't remember when, that all expenses have to be approved by the Congress. And the Congress appropriates a certain amount of money. And you cannot exceed that money. If you end up exceeding that money, you need to go back to the Congress and take their permission, take their extension, and then go back and start spending that. So all this stuff has to be maintained very diligently by the Treasury Department. And $4.7 trillion going missing, mind-blowing, mind-blowing. Yeah, that's done. Next one, please. Now, the Treasury Department was one of the first agencies DOGE embedded itself in after President Trump's inauguration. See, there is some amount of visibility for the DOGE team to look into the Department of Treasury. One judge allowed two employees from DOGE to take a look into this, and I think they are bringing out some of these things. It's not like it's a complete shut off. There are a couple of people looking into it, but the bigger question, my guess is that since now two lawsuits are already in SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, you will know one way or the other what's going to happen. By the way, somebody has done an excellent analysis of what would happen if the Supreme Court rules against DOGE. You know what? The findings are findings. Trump administration can still go through and effect all the changes. Worst case, what they may say, Supreme Court may say, is that Elon Musk, for his role as the DOGE czar, will have to be approved by the Senate. He'll go through the approval. What's the big deal? So this is an interesting debate. We'll be talking about that also. What all this means is somebody is very bold and they are taking a hatchet to try and cut through all this bullshit, to try and trim the fat that the US system has become. And that is going to probably remain in place. And if you combine this with my monologue on gold, where I talked to you about a gold-backed dollar system and the dollar also on the blockchain, that's going to make it much more accountable and traceable as to where the money from the government is going. A lot of things that are being planned, and my God, they have really been listening and planning this for a long time, I think. Also, please remember one thing, spare a thought for Vivek Ramaswamy. He was the first one to bring DOGE as a concept during the presidential primaries, and now he finds himself out of this whole thing, ostensibly because he's running for the governor of Ohio, and looks like he's leading right now. That's a good news. We pray that he will go on to become the governor of Ohio, which would be a good stepping stone for him for bigger things afterwards. Now, let's go back to this DOGE's role in Treasury reforms. Remember, it went back and forth. One judge ruled that the Secretary to the Treasury, that is, what's his name? I'm seeing the picture here, Scott Bessent, can actually have access. And he said that he has been giving interviews on this. And he said that this is a methodical thing and it is going to yield big savings. And whatever they are doing, it's only a read only. They are not changing anything. They are merely reading. We are really reading all the records. If the records are being deliberately kept badly or poorly, that's where the leak is being identified. Next one, please. So the other thing that they are going to do is, in fact, this was coming out even in the latter part of Biden administration, that paper checks are going to be deleted and everything is going to be bank to bank transfer, bank account. Well, did we not do that in India? Direct benefit transfers? Same thing US is probably going to do. And this itself, they are saying that just not having to write checks will save the Treasury $750 million per year, because they process over 100 million paper checks costing $2.40 per check. That is 240 million, just the processing part. But then there has to be human hands, human intervention, there will be mistakes, there will be wrong addresses, there will be this, there will be that. That's how this thing adds up. From $240 million of actual expense to the complete administration, you see how much overhead comes and sits, 510 million. So in fiscal year of 2023, 25 billion in tax refunds were delayed or lost due to retired or expired checks. I think the check expiry date is 6 months. Within 6 months, you are supposed to encash your check. If you don't do it, then automatically it lapses. Next one, please. Now, the bigger overall overarching objective of DOGE is to increase transparency in government spending by enforcing stricter financial tracking mechanism, aka blockchain. I mean, it is similar. This, whatever it is, finally it'll come to that, because you want to have that granularity. This will not be a permissionless blockchain like the Bitcoin. It will not be that way. It will be a permissioned blockchain, which means that only few people can look into the blockchain, and that way the efficiency will be a little bit better, and it won't just get blown out of size. Now, these things with the task codes put in, hopefully at least the Department of Treasury will be clean, and how this propagates itself into other departments will have to be seen, and then they can probably tweak the process. By the way, Elon Musk is going to be there only for 4 months, and he's already spent 20 days. And after that, he said, I'm done. I'm going to put these things in place, and I'm going to go back to running my companies. So the Democrats are, they just don't know what to do at this point of time. They tried demonizing Elon, but he says that he's not going to be there after 4 months. What are you going to do? So this is something that has not been faced by politicians. So they really don't know how to tackle this Trump administration missives one after the other. So many of them are going ballistic. AOC is under a lot of trouble, because evidently she claimed that she's going to help illegals evade ICE, and I think Ilhan Omar, and there's one other person that we have done a monologue on. They've all been teaching how to evade ICE. This is going to be a big trouble, because if one is caught, I guarantee you all 3 congressmen and women will be punished the same way. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Next one, please. Okay, so that was the slide deck, and like I said, a lot happening in just 20 days of Trump 2.0, and clearly the writing is there on the wall that you can't fake this thing, you can't do anything more. But it does mean some other things are going wrong. For example, the Washington DC housing real estate market has crashed by 20%. And the reason people are saying is that, supposing there is a husband and wife both working for the government, they were clearing easily up to $750,000 a year. That's a lot of money, and that drove up the real estate prices in DC area. But once Trump came in, they knew that something like this was going to happen. People have been putting up their houses for sale, and basically right now there is panic. There is absolute panic. We'll have to wait and see which other states also start experiencing this kind of problem. I think there is a huge correction in housing. But if housing starts correcting, then the overall market is also going to start hurting, because banks will start hurting. We'll see. This is maybe after 6 months will be an excellent time to buy your second home if you have the amount cash in your hands. And that's all I have to say. And now let's take a list of questions. Bunch of questions here. Believer of light. Elon is not qualified to find out fraud with his group of 20-year-olds. You are spreading news without any verification. You can't take Elon's words at value. He is a serial liar. Believer of light. It is already the computers can't lie. What you may have found fault with is, for example, in the case of nuclear scientists, there was an error because maybe the logic was wrong. If the data doesn't lie, if somebody has been wrongfully fired, they can go to court and seek redress. Next one, please. E wants to know, didn't SSA start under FDR? Yes, that is correct. Giving 100 years cushion, 170 should be max. Anything above should be considered crime. Isn't SSA largest owner of bonds? This system should be fixed. Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more, E. Next one, please. Elmo wants to know, just a quick math, it's like huge dollars in fraud. Who got these checks? Like I said, see, the racket appears to be that people in outside of United States seem to have a network wherein you can get easy money. But just, there is somebody who will create this thing for you, and that person takes a cut, and then you take the bulk of the money. But maybe you also have to pay some money to start with to get into that club. A lot of things I'm going to break down. Trust me. Next one, please. Believer, a scamming billionaire is gathering all kinds of government. Look, don't go ranting. I'm not celebrating it. I'm just telling you what is happening. Okay. If Elon Musk makes a mistake, it's a department of the Trump administration that is actually doing the work. He's just recommending. He's just saying that this is where the inefficiency is. It's possible that you may have lost your job here, but if you just come and rant, what can I say? I'm not celebrating anything. As a taxpayer, I'm very unhappy, especially with what USAID did, because they destabilized many countries. Next one, please. Sanjay, thank you so much for your super sticker. Pradeep, these savings are peanuts compared to the debt. If dollar is pegged to gold, de-dollarization can start from within. This is Triffin dilemma. Google it. Okay, we will. But Pradeep, wait for some time. Okay, after we say that okay, US has a huge debt, this, that, and so on, there are a couple of assets that the United States has not accounted to try and reduce its debt. One is, of course, the one that talked about gold. The numbers kind of vary. For example, some say it is 4,000 tons, some say it is 4,000 metric tons. The difference between a ton and a metric ton, a ton is 2,000 pounds, a metric ton is 1,000 kilos. And therefore, a metric ton is slightly bigger, which means it's 2,200 pounds. 2,200 pounds. So the math goes a little bit this way or that way, and whatever I had said, it was calculated for a metric ton, and if it is ton, then the number will be slightly smaller. But you get the idea, and that is one. And also land asset. The federal government owns a lot of land in the United States. That land is huge mass. For example, they are saying that 99% of Nevada is actually owned by the federal government. 99%. So if they monetize it and add that into their asset column, then it will reduce the debt, the deficit. The deficit is a notional number. What is happening is US is printing that much currency. So in fact, it's not even printing the currency, it just transfers it from one department to another, and that finds its way into the banks, and everything is whole again. It used to sell treasury bills to make up that deficit, but that stopped a long time ago. 10 years, 20 years, I don't remember exactly when. So then that's why you keep having this tamasha that happens in Congress, where they'll say there's this deficit has ballooned again, we need to vote on it, and somebody will start adding some pork bills for their constituency and make it even more inefficient. DOGE is a great initiative. How much they get done in that, I don't know. Like I said, if they can even achieve 30% of what they set out to do, that would be a huge success. Next one, please. Sagar Jackie, yes, we do need a DOGE in India also, but unfortunately in India, a lot of things are still file-based, and a lot of things are actually still cash-based also. I don't know how efficient that will be. State governments have swallowed sums whole. Complete one project money, they just swallow it. Don't do anything. And sometimes they even make up fake receipts and say, we did this. It's just all over the place. It's going to take some time. Sree Iyer ji, will Lockheed Martin sell us F-35 without first insisting that we buy F-21 since our pilots need to be trained by Lockheed Martin? I don't know. Let's wait and see. The F-35 might not be bought by the Indian government. Let's wait and see. Next one. Manav-san wants to know, are Trump and his negotiator 𝗏𝗏𝗏 pushing to end Russia-Ukraine war to pave way for regime change war on Iran? Is this the reason why Trump is pushing hard for outreach to Russia and India? Well, Manav-san, Trump has always been no unnecessary wars. I think he sees this war as unnecessary. You need to go back and look at the history of NATO. How in 1990, United States promised that they will not add a single country to the NATO than what they already had. And then in 1991, sometime in 1991, the Soviet Russia broke up into pieces. But from 1994 onward, they kept adding more and more countries to the NATO. And the last straw on the camel's back was they wanted to add Ukraine and Georgia, which would have basically encircled Russia. So you have to look at it from Putin's point of view as to why he's fighting this. By the way, I did not know all these things when I was jumping up and down saying that a democracy is at risk when Russia invaded Ukraine. I stand corrected. I made a huge mistake. I should have done more research on this before coming up. But now I'm listening. I'm looking at this from 360-degree point of view. So there is history behind what is going on, and the key perpetrator in all this is the United States. Next one. E wants to know, this is a good chance for Elon to make good open-ended AI with all data they are gathering. I hope Donald Trump put guardrails on how DOGE can handle data. No reuse policy should be there other than the government one. I think so. It's fairly well guarded. Next one. Suresh Kumar wants to know, Namaskaram sir, is there a possibility of USAID coming back in a different form? Yes. If the Dems come back to power, I'm afraid they'll start meddling in India again. I think what's going to happen very soon, Suresh, is that there will be a way to track the money that the government is spending. I see no way around it. So blockchain for the government expenses will come into play. 100%. There's no doubt about it. What will be the guardrails there? It will be permission blockchain. That means only few can access it. And law agencies, judiciary, all these people would need a judge to sign off on permission to look at that, so that it's guarded in a way that doesn't get into the eyes of the wrong people. That's all we have. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. 30 minutes flew, at least for me. I don't know about you, but stay tuned. There are more things coming, and it's possible that if you are a US taxpayer, a $5,000 check might land in your mailbox. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.